In this video, we're going to talk about how Lightcraft Spark is reinventing the production process. All right, Eliot, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
What do we got going on with Lightcraft Spark?
This is fun. This is exactly what we were talking about. This is, the brouhaha. The sky is falling. It's going to take all of our jobs. It's all over, etc. And at the same time, you're doing this, right? You're creating this fused workflow that is combining like live action shooting, Gen AI pieces of it all merged together.
These hybrid workflows.
To rethink filmmaking, but not replace it.
Yeah.
Right? And it means you're going after big stuff. Like you recreated the scene from one battle after another, as big as it gets. But this is the question: who gets to tell the big original stories?
Yeah.
Right. And the problem, of course, is when it's a big original story, you can't see it yet. Right. Nobody can see it yet, and so you're. When you the classic thing is the log line, like, Godzilla meets the Godfather. But you do that only because you can't show it. And if you could show it, you would.
Yeah.
Right? And normally someone has to commit to financing a film, waiting several years, and then they're sitting in the theater before they see what they've signed up for.
Right.
And what if you could do that in the very first stages?
Yeah.
Like this, and this is where it's going to be. And so you'll notice that there has been a missing link there, right? Of, boy, I'd love to be able to put this. This is the missing link.
Yeah.
Like this is what Spark Story is, right? So it's a browser-based virtual shot collaboration system. Okay. And if you want to think about it in a long story short, what you'd really like to have is ILM level previs, except without the ILM price tag, right? Which is considerable, but to have that capability, in your hands, right? So you can actually put it together. And I think there's like two things that every filmmaker has to do. One is you have to what's here. Manifest in a form that you can see it, that other people can see it. That's filmmaking, right? You had something in your head, you're trying to make it, work. And then the other one is, how do you bring people in? How do you bring your team together? How do you bring collaborators in? How do you collaborate? How do you pitch, right? And again, the old way is bottle of water, and we're going to do this, and it's going to be awesome, and
a very good charade.
Then followed by 10 years of rejection. That's the traditional Hollywood thing. And we see a way of doing this where we're just using all the new pieces of it, but to enable that. And of course, and the third thing is you can't. There are ways of doing this. People have been doing previs for a long time, but you had to be an expert. You had to be an expert Blender user, or you had to be an expert Softimage user or Unreal user. And for story people, you want them to focus on story. You don't want them to focus on the finer points of solving a problem in
something that feels intuitive, like filming in real life.
Yeah. So what Spark is again collaborative film, team previs, right? How do you do this as a group? So we start off with starts with a script. The core of this thing, it's a web-based system. There's a giant database underneath this. The database is built around scripts. Okay. So it loads a script, final draft, whatever, and it can parse it and look at all the different, it can identify all the different locations and automatically know characters, this kind of thing. But then that gives us an organizational principle. You're going to see us build all this kind of crazy stuff, but the organizing thing is the script. Everything is tied to a different piece of the script. And you can see exactly where we are. We're in,
So it does like a script breakdown, so you got your scenes, locations, all that, okay.
Yeah, it's a database system, but it's riveted in storytelling, it's designed for that. So what that means is when you actually do put in a location, it knows what it correlates to. In this case, the exterior, time of the day. And we're loading in a Gaussian splat here, and we can bring these in from like a scan, or we can bring these in from photogrammetry, or you can actually prompt them in 3D AI. We're doing that with Marble Labs.
Okay.
This one's generated with Megascapes. This is a really super high resolution Gaussian splat, but it's a location.
Yeah.
And we're back to filmmaking, right? So we just dropped in a location that's accurate, that's centimeter accurate, so that when we drop in a camera, it's going to behave just like you were if you're on location with a camera, right? So that's the location. You need to have objects. You're not just shooting background shots, right? You're going to have actual actors and pieces in it. So we can import 3D. In this case, it's a universal scene description, USD 3D. And there's a really important reason we do this. And that is because with USD, all the decisions we make can go downstream. Right? Because if we do previsualization and you can't take it into onset and post-production, then you just threw all your work in the air and you're going to have to recreate your movie like we've been doing for 100 years, right? Over and over.
So everything you're doing here, if you wanted to, you could use it down the pipeline.
Yes. And you can bring it in from, Maya and Unreal and Houdini, and actually we'll show you some of the crazy stuff of pulling in a fully animated creature from Houdini, which I like. I love it because, good luck trying that without USD. So, and again, all running in the browser, so we can actually put in the objects need to make shots. And again, we're using the script to lock the shots to it. So we can, pick out a lens, pick out, one of the standard sets of lenses we've got, and really quickly compose a shot. We're going to shoot take a picture of the actress, and this is all great. We have a realistic shot, but it's a little dry. And when we started working with our creatives, Joshua over here took a look at it, and again, we can do a nice car shot, etc. And his comment was, and it is ringing in my ears ever since, is just give me the camera.
Yeah.
And we went, hold our beer. So the cool thing about this is the Spark iOS app, and what we're doing here is we're making another scene view of the same scene we had over there. Oh, this is actually the dragon scene, but this is a lot more fun to look at. So we can actually go around in the scene, we can navigate, we can fly around, and we can actually go in an augmented reality method because we're on an iPad, and now we can move around in the scene. So we can actually move really quickly toward the dragon.
Yeah.
And then, slow ourselves down just like, James Cameron stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So this is all fun. And now you get to move the camera and start to have a fluid motion.
Yeah, this has been the missing piece and like what I've been looking for I just want to be able to move a camera in a 3D space.
This
is like an easy version of like VCam, Unreal Engine.
The easy version.
You don't have to have a beefy Unreal computer to and
this runs on an iPhone. And so
is this linked to the web browser, or am I
okay,
do I have to load the Splat on my device?
You're gonna hit a button, okay. And we're gonna hit it. Okay, this is a direct drive button, and over there, he's gonna link to that, and now you are live linked to the browser.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So everything is always connected. This is the piece of it where you want to have artistic preview, but you want to work with your team. Right? And so now...
And this works over the internet? This is not like a local network thing? This
exactly.
Could be anywhere? Okay.
That's exactly it. Because I've fought and lost local network wars for many years. And this is why we stopped, we're doing, we have had Jetset for some period of time. Oh, let's do something fun. Let's come in, and I'm going to hit record, and the dragon's going to take off. So you can come in and let's find a shot. He's going to wake up, and he's taking off. And as he arcs into the sky, you can follow him and move. And this is where we want to be.
Yeah.
Right? This is where we want to be. Now we are framing shots. And it's in the viewfinder. It's not reflecting there. That's a current temporary thing. But okay, now you just save the shot, and bang, it just showed up over there.
Our timeline there.
Yes.
So we got this take recording
Gabe
thing.
is just going to load up that shot. Yeah, that's the one that just came up, and he's going to play it back, and bang. Without any file transfer, without any waiting, it just showed up. And now we're having a cinematic conversation.
That's awesome. And anyone that's in this project would be able to see whatever everyone else is doing.
That's exactly it. Because now we're collaborating the same way you would normally collaborate on a stage, except without lighting $10,000 every few minutes on fire, right? But it's accurate, right?
Yeah.
So this is lens, the currently setting its lens for an Arri 35. Okay. We're gonna have all the lenses and all this stuff in it.
Whatever your sensor, camera, all that stuff, you can replicate it. Yeah.
So that whatever you plan here, you can take out, and you can either, if you want to run this into Gen AI, great. If you want to take this on a set and shoot it, great. It's accurate.
We're talking about Previs and stuff, but if you wanted to have a very good base level gray box with camera control, and then video to video with another AI model. Yeah. That is a separate pipeline, but this lays the foundation for it.
And it gives you
even better Previs. Better looking Previs.
Well, and the key thing that I love about this is that we just did this. Like, you saw what you're doing, the shot you want. It's collaborative, and you didn't have to be an expert. I didn't have to sit there for the next 5 minutes and hardwiring the VCam, whatever connection, and try to do a local IP address, which breaks as soon as you get out of it just worked. And we're in the middle of a convention because we have a central database that is like handling all the talking.
That is a good point. We are on crappy Wi-Fi right now. So even with that, this was a pretty real time between moving this device and the computer, the connections. Okay.
Well, and then we have a shot list thing. So once you have your set of shots you love, you can create a shot list that are once again 3D accurate, right? Uh-huh. So you actually, know exactly where the camera was, and you can go and recreate that on a set.
The lens, position. Well, so I guess where does the line come when, how much of a script breakdown shot list builder tool is this versus when, I don't know, you would need to coordinate if you're doing a bigger production of actual call sheets and the logistics stuff.
What we're finding as people see this, there's this, it takes a half a second, they're like, oh, like you're planning the whole project.
Yeah.
And so there's all these things that start to come out of it. How do you do budgeting simulation? What we're really doing is a whole new way of approaching it, right? And Spark Story is the first module, right? Like this is the story planning preview part. That's the part we're showing. That's the part we're going to be in beta.
Yeah.
But we're going to come back and through, you're familiar with Jetset. So we're familiar with production, post-production, all these pieces. We just realized we needed that same instant data transfer that you just saw, like for the preview process. We need to bring that now, roll Jetset into this so we have it on set. And then we can have a unified approach, right? Full stack from the beginning to the end where we keep track of everything. So the different groups that are doing this don't have to individually roll their own pipelines, right? Because it takes forever. We know we've got a very good team and we're building really, really quickly. But that, this is the same files that we're using here actually load into Jetset for production, and then we can actually take it in post-production and do all the things you've seen with that before.
Does this add a simplification layer if you're using Jetset of like loading scenes or kind of being able to do more stuff on the web versus having to navigate the iPhone screen?
Yeah. This is exactly it, because with the previous system, we had to do too many things in the iPhone, but now like with the interface, trying to do too many, what I'd say, design things in the interface. And now what we can do is each interface is really good. The web is great for putting things down, for scene assembly, for building out shots. And the iPhone's perfect for performing the shots, right? And so that way we have a really good kind of match back and forth. So each tool, the iPhone's a camera, so we use it as a camera. And the browser is a layout tool, and we use it as a layout tool, but they're both talking to the same 3D database. So you just pick up the tool that's useful for what you're doing, and you switch to the other tool when you need to do that piece of it. But that's the core of it, right? And so, we look at this, and I'll show you after we round trip, you're familiar with Jetset and the onset tracking, et cetera. But
we've covered a lot of Jetset.
Yeah, well, so what's crazy, we're seeing, this is a shot from Pathways, right? And so this is one of the projects we were working with, and this was a Jetset project.
Oh, was this the one that was shooting with 2 iPhones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I was just talking about
the key here is the fusion of techniques.
Yeah.
Right. So there's both a practical set piece there, set build, and then there's CG extensions on this. There's both practical lighting. Roberto Schaefer shot this, and there's also an AI relight. And that the existing lighting was already there, but to like add some of the highlights and pieces of that. And then there's an AI pieces for the background and the fog. But this is a great example of like putting all the pieces together, like fusing live action and fusing the onset stuff, the post-production, and using each of the pieces for what makes sense. But this is also done by a tiny team.
Yeah.
Right? And this is reproducible. Like this is, it's set in the Andes Mountains. It was shot in Burbank. But this is a kind of technique that means that the projects you're doing can scale, right? And this is how we actually do a Renaissance, right? This is, we could use a Renaissance right about now.
Right, it's not this fully generative pipeline. This is like, we're using real people, shooting practically, but how do we bring these other locations and stuff that's just cost prohibitive to do any other way for like the scale of these projects?
Well, and the cool thing about this is that you can get started really easily. Like that shot over there, the dragon was the prompt. It's prompted 3D, right? So that was done with a World Labs marble. So Colin created that with a photographic image and a 3D prompt. Bang! Now we have a world that it's like looks like Dune, right? So now you can start to do these very, very ambitious sorts of projects, and it didn't cost that much, right, to build that world and then to start working with it. And we added the dragon in later. We're like, oh, this is great, And that dragon, Alex had him in, and Eye Candy is a company that created the dragon animation. So they're just remarkably good animators. But that's kind of one of the key pieces of it. If you have high skill people, they can feed into the system. If you're just learning it, it's okay too, right? We can handle different ranges of it from sort of an intro. We don't want you to have to be an expert to use it, but if you have expertise, bring it. Right?
It's not going to be like watered down if you know what you're doing or have the knowledge, but you can still.
And so we've had conversations with high-end Previs houses where they, we have a giant Maya stack, and can we do this? And and the nerdy stuff are objects because it's a USD layered system.
So you can bring in anything.
It fully supports USD layered and composition. That's deeply nerdy, but it's built on the top of the same system that Pixar
uses. Are there
uses.
any generative pipelines for like the text to 3D models if you just want to generate an asset to bring it in?
That's happening. I've used it just a little bit, right? But clearly one of the video that I saw that I'm looking closely at was Andrew Price's like Blender Guru's video where he's talking about a new kind of approach of combining Gen AI and 3D. Okay. Where you block something out in Blender and then use that brought the blackout into an AI model, got an image that he likes, and then went through the individual pieces of it, pulled them out, ran them through Meshy, so we created 3D objects of it. So now the camera can move through it and you have consistency. I'm like, there's always going to be a bit of a dance, but what I see happening is these tools becoming available that we can do it. I looked at that and said, okay, that's smart. That's using all the different tools in a way that is, again, I like showing this. The trick with all this stuff, how do you get a small team to make a show? Right? How do you put together the pieces of it so you can actually make it happen? And so you have to be able to automate it, and it has to be reproducible and hold up in production. And for 1,500 shots, right? That's the trick. And so this is why it's exciting.
This also roll in. I'm blanking on the name, but the shot processing. If you're shooting with Lightcraft to process your footage with the tracking data. Auto shot. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So
which it's like a PC app now, and you kind of gotta.
Yeah. So actually, the Jetset, that's actually a great comment on it. So just for reference, just so people see this. Actually, I don't even know if we have any auto shot pictures of it. Okay. Possibly the ugliest looking program the world has ever. Thank you. You're being very, very gentle. We got the math right, and so you could actually again, these shots were processed with that. The problem was that it was solitary. It was designed for almost like an individual to sit there and process shots. And that frankly came off at the wheels, and you start dealing with a larger project, in this case, Pathways. So Pathways in many ways was my inspiration to say, okay, we have to start at the beginning and figure out collaboration and the preview and the planning process. And Spark Story is the first piece of it that over time we're gonna roll AutoShot up into Spark. And so then we have the same collaboration you just saw on the front end, we wanna have that in post. Because I'm sure you're going to get interesting phone calls after one battle after another. At some point, you're going to be doing a feature. I'm just going to make a prediction of this, and then it's going to start happening, and you're going to realize that's 1,500 shots, and I can't do this on my own. I need a team. I need to be able to collaborate. I need to be able to keep track of what's going on. You become a producer, and we want to build the tools that work like what you just saw, where it's just fast and immediate and visual.
Just like a basic system where you can manage shots, but it's designed for like actually managing film shots, because that's slightly different than just a basic, not CRM, but a basic project management software.
Well, ultimately, you want it to be an artistic tool, right? And there are tools out there that can handle like 10,000 shots or whatever, but they're designed for a giant company. They're designed for 1,000 people. And we're building the tool set that you want to be able to make it work with like 2 or 3 or half a dozen. And when the project scales, great, we can scale with it, but it needs to be workable with a tiny handful of people, which is what we're doing with Pathways. It's really, really cool to see it come to fruition, right?
It was great. What's your launch plan, and how do you know pricing? How is Spark going to work?
Oh, that's great. Beta in SIGGRAPH. So that's going to be our beta launch of having more people in it. Commercial release fall this year. Rough price is about $29.95 per month.
Per seed or however.
Yeah, per seed. Okay. Yeah, so that way you can have your whole team collaborating at a pretty low cost, right?
Yeah, building out these environments.
Substantially lower than hiring a high-end.
Yeah.
And just as a kind of a funny note, because you've seen the Dragon work, et cetera, but some of those shots have just rocketed around the world. Like Alex's, let me see if I can find his Dragon work real quick. But there it is. So this was the Dragon work that Alex Henneman of Compositing Academy
I remember
did.
this. Yeah, they went out there with this X-ray scanner
Okay. So this is awesome. This thing went around the world.
Yeah.
Alex's phone burst into flames as half known universe saw this. We've talked to some fairly substantial productions, and they had this like, that's it, and they would go to more traditional companies and say, this is what we want. We want to do a project like this. And they got kind of a bit of a blank look. Like, no, we want to have a guy there with a fishing pole with a tennis ball at the end, and we're going to paint him out, and we're just going to, brute force everything like we've done it for 20 or 30 years. And he's like, but we
can see it.
Yeah, right there. So it's going to be fascinating to see who sees it and who sees the potential of this new kind of pipeline and who actually wants to kind of do something new, right? In the 60s, and the Hollywood studio came apart for the first time, it wasn't the established guard that jumped in. It was Scorsese and De Palma and Coppola and Spielberg, and these were kids. Like Spielberg was 27 when he shot Jaws. Scorsese was 30 when he did Mean Streets. I mean, they were kids. I look at that and I look at the history of that time and I go, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, I think Lucas was 30 when he shot Star Wars. I have to stop back and remember. But I have bicycles that are older than that, and that's, I think, what we're going to see. It's in the middle of all this craziness. I actually think we're going to see a renaissance, and I think you're looking at the you're already doing part of it. Like you already made one battle after the chase scene of that. So
2 shots, but
but it shows it, right? You're like,
we're
doing this.
We could see the pipeline. We could see how this can be used in the future, and like what the workflow could be.
I mean, I think that's the most interesting thing about this is building something you don't have to sit and wait your turn. You just can go do it.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to see.
Right, you don't need permission, or a big budget.
Right. Yeah. you don't ask to get permission or forgiveness. let's just go make something really, really cool. So that's what we're doing.
Cool.
It's going to be exciting to see people pick it up.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking forward to it.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Eliot. Appreciate it.
All right.